Okay, students, I don't know why my GoPro shut off on me, but we'll continue here. So, I've squared one end after I used the spray, right? So the tube doesn't come out. And we're ready to do the other end where we put it on our bit. Ooh, that's got some glue in it. And then lock it down. I'm going to rotate it. It seems to work right there. And we would turn it on, and we would go until we see the metal again, like we did on the other side. We want to see the metal on both sides. Then we know we're done. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Well, that one, the tube came out, right? So they probably did not use the lube when they went through this process and the heat caused it to slip. This is what it should look like: metal and metal. Then we're ready for the next step, which is where we're going to use the lathe. I'll show you how to load the little lathe here and how to turn it. Let me make sure we're set up here. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to loosen this. I'm going to take the bushing off and our spacers. So it's spacer, our blank that has the metal tube in there glued, right? Put that on. Then it's another spacer and another blank for our pin. That one hasn't been done. Okay, so we're gonna do two different ones here. Cedar and maple. You can mix and match, but this one's been finished. And then another spacer, and then we lock it all down with our bushing. So put the bushing on there, and I'm holding the end here nice and snug, turning that on snug, and I think we're ready. Okay, so this comes in, I lock it down, and then I'm loosening this so I can bring our center in tight, lock it down, and everything's nice and snug. This is my tool rest here. I want it to be as close as possible for my tool to rest on, okay? This tool needs to be on the center line, okay? You want to not let the tool be above level, because then it can get caught and tear it out of your hands possibly. You want to be level or slightly under level. We also want this tool rest as close as we can get it, but not touching. Touches right there a little bit. I think that'll work. Okay, we're gonna turn this on here. Oh, touching slightly. Try that again. Where's it touching at? I think it's right there. I want to adjust this. When you think you've got it, I want to check it, okay, before you turn it on. I want to make sure everything's tight and in the correct position. Turn it on here. And this one's got a variable speed, so we can take the speed up faster as we get it rounded. So here's my tools. I'm going to use the round nose to make this round, to take off all the corners, right? Once I get it perfectly round, then I'll go with the square tool to take it down to our size. And this is where we're going. We want to take it, get it round, and we want to take it down. This metal, all three pieces of metal, are your bushing sizes. Okay, so you want to take it down real close to the bushing, don't we? You don't want to do this. You don't want to get all the way down to your metal. Okay, that's ruined. You don't want to be too aggressive. It might take a chunk out. That's ruined. All right. You don't want to go too small because it can crack when we press your pin together. So this one's not a bad example. Okay. So your spacers are your guides. So I'm starting out with my round tool. This is my tool rest and place for my finger so I can get it in here. I'm gonna take it up in speed. And nice and easy, I'm taking the corners off. That maple's a lot harder than the cedar as far as a wood species. Maple is really hard. Cedar is a softwood, so much easier to machine, right? Remember, I don't want to get too aggressive. Let the tool do the work. Keeping it level or slightly below level with our round tool here. Round nose. If the tool feels dull to you, let me know and I can change it out or rotate it. Feels like we're getting pretty close. Wear safety glasses. That little chip just hit me in the face. See where we're at. All right, as you can see, we're not quite round yet, are we? Let's keep going. That one's real close. I'm being more aggressive than I would like you to be just for time's sake. Don't want to make this video an hour long. Okay, let's see if we're there. Now, once we've got it rounded, which we do, we're going to go to the square tool, and I want to keep my tool rest as close as I can to our work, which makes it safer, keeps it a lot less chance of you getting your tool caught in there and it tearing it out of your hands. I don't think this has got enough power to do that, but just to be safe. Okay, now we're going to use the square tool to take it down to our bushing size on both ends, our spacer size, I should say. Spacer, 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 spacer. That's where we're going. So we're using our square tool to do that. And you'll be able to see that we can use the corner of that square tool to take it down pretty aggressively. So take your time. As you can see, that's pretty close there, isn't it? We don't want to do this. All right, we don't want to do this too thin. It's probably going to crack when we push it together. We want to have it something close to that. All right, so this end is pretty done. We still got to sand it, right? This one needs to come down and this needs to come down, and then you can leave it, you know, as big as you want in the middle. We've got a parting tool where you could put grooves in it if you wanted to. Okay, this is what we're going for, and we can, once we're done, we can laser it. Okay, with your name, a couple different things, a couple different sayings or whatever. Once a bulldog, always the bulldog, right? All right, so once we get that all down to size, the next step is sanding, and I've got it set up over here. Okay, we got two little lathes here, and as you can see, we've got sandpaper from 150 grit to 600 grit. We start with the 150. Do you remember? That's how many particles per inch. So there's a lot less particles at 150 than there are 600. This would be a much finer sandpaper. So we start here. You'll use it until it's gotten rid of all scratches, all tool marks, you know, any roughness. Should look very, very smooth. And then we'd go to 240, then 320, then 400, and then 600. And I've got it written on the back of these, but that's what they are. By the time you get done with 600, it should be smooth as glass. Notice I've taken off my tool rest. I've gotten it out of the way during the sanding phase. Okay, so if I flip it on, we could sand here, we could sand like this. Let the sandpaper do the work. Don't pull or push hard. nice and gentle. Okay, so all the way from 150 to 600. Then when you've got it and I approve it, you're ready for the finish. Here is the finish. It's a Mylands high build friction polish. As you can see, it's separated, so we got to shake it up. And you'll apply it with a little cloth. I'll give you a little cloth. You'll put it on there, 3 coats, and you can let it spin dry in between coats. So I've got 3 coats on there. We're ready to press this pin together. It's dry, so here I go. I'm going to loosen this up. I take off my bushing, take off my spacer, my pin blank, spacer, pin blank, and let's go ahead and put all this back on. Pretty easy to lose those, right? Then we would be out of business. We'll put that back on, and so it doesn't get bent, I'm sliding my center back to where it goes and lock that down. That way we can leave it just like so. All right, so I've got my 2 pin blanks. What do we do next? We're coming over here to our table vise, and let's put this thing together. You will get a pin kit with everything in it. I've taken everything out, and I've kind of laid it out according to the steps. So the tip goes first, and then this doohickey, and then your ink cylinder, and then the back of it. So you got to decide which ones you want to be the